Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network, heard across the USA and on your favorite podcast and YouTube channels. And certainly we have worked hard to build a very wonderful platform for you that has the best of the best in the industry. And of course, the best of the best in the industry in September is all focused on Alzheimer's disease. As we're talking about Alzheimer's, I have never felt more optimistic than I do now that there is a cure on the horizon. And there are medical breakthroughs that are happening every day. And we're going to talk today about something kind of totally unique when it comes to Alzheimer's care, but I think it's really important because remember everyone, 1 out of every 9 people over the age of 65 has Alzheimer's disease. They now can actually do a blood test and it actually can find out if you have predisposition for Alzheimer's disease even before the symptoms show up, which is very exciting. And so obviously for us, we are providing resources for families. Definitely want to encourage you to support the Alzheimer's Association and the Walk to End Alzheimer's in your community. And today we're going to talk about animal-assisted therapy. And that sounds kind of interesting, or what is animal? You may have seen what's called a therapy dog or a therapy horse, or different forms of bunny rabbits that are therapy animals. But the point is, what are they? Why is it important in the whole world of Alzheimer's and dementia? And so I am very excited to have my right hand at Answers for Elders that oversees all of our therapy programs, as we have a program with Answers for Elders for many of our listeners know called Washington Therapy Dogs, as we are based in Washington State. So I want to introduce to you Marlina Velasco-Barker. And Marlina, thank you so much for coming and sharing about the amazing work that you do.
Absolutely, Suzanne. It's my pleasure and honor because I'm so passionate about it. I think it's starting to ooze out of my cells and just my being. Everybody knows how passionate I am about the work that we're doing through Washington Therapy Dogs. And honestly, it's become so much of my passion that for the last 2 years since I've been working alongside you, it's literally been my focus. So it's been super fun.
Yeah. Well, and I love your focus because you and I are both very driven, ambitious individuals with big hearts. And I think that's one of the things that you and I share in common. And sometimes passion just can overflow and it gets overextended. And I love the fact that you and I have that kind of synergy between us because we understand each other's rhythm. And I am as passionate as you are. I just wish I could do more like what you do. And certainly my story is similar to, just getting our group involved in pet therapy and what we've been able to do with the communities out there, with seniors, with those, with schools, with fire and police and fire departments. Marlina, you have really run the gamut of different ways in which therapy dogs, in our case, has really made a difference. Tell me a little bit about your story and, just how you got involved in this. I know, but I want our listeners to know.
Love to share with everybody. So Suzanne has a group that she started. She's the founder and also the main administrator for a Facebook group called Washington Doodle Owners, and it's got over 10,000 members. At that time, I think it maybe had 6,000, and it's continued to grow. And one of the posts that I noticed, being a doodle owner myself, she was a puppy at the time, I took an interest in the group because I wanted to know everything that people in Washington that have a doodle, what they do, and how do you handle tangles in their hair and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. And one of the times I was scrolling, we all do this, right, guys?
Yeah.
I was scrolling and I saw some photographs of you and Woodby and several of your
Would
doggo
be my dog.
friends.
Hmm.
Yes, Woodby, your pup, your doodle, going to a senior care community and loving on the residents there. And I thought, okay, I'm getting emotional just thinking about the flashback of the day that happened.
Yeah.
And I just was so touched by that. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. I was so touched by that because I volunteered at senior communities since high school. It was a part of my leadership program in high school, but I continued to play bingo with those folks in Wapato at the Wapato,
I love
retirement
it.
community the entire summer because I was so it was such an honor for me to get to hear the stories of
Mhm.
the folks that live there. Both of my sisters work there as nurses, and so I was completely committed to that. Well, anyway, when I moved to Green Lake, I started to volunteer at
In
uh,
Seattle,
in
just so our
Seattle.
listeners know. Yeah.
Yes, in Green Lake, Seattle, I started volunteering at a local community 2 or 3 blocks from me. So it all came together. We got a dog, she's a puppy. I'm wondering to myself, okay, what's the purpose here? And, in my belief system, I was praying, right? Okay, God, what is your purpose for this cute little puppy? And sure enough, I saw all the photos and what was shared, that I know it was mainly Suzanne driving the group at that time, what they felt and what kind of
Hmm.
positive impact that they made on those
Hmm.
residents. And I went, okay, boom, bam, I'm doing that.
I
So I
love that.
reached out to Suzanne right away.
And your Malia, your dog, she is amazing. So it's like she was meant to do therapy dog work. And so we're going to talk about the whole thing, and we are going to also talk later in this hour behind about the science between what we call animal assisted intervention, or AAI. And that's the official word for it. But therapy animals are all over the place. So obviously you go to memory care communities. And we have about 2 minutes left. I would love to have you share a brief story of, just kind of what happens in a memory care facility when you go to visit those with Alzheimer's.
Sure. So we've done both individual, like one-on-one, just
Hmm.
Ellie and I, and showed up and helped, one person that maybe has memory care, is living in memory care as a resident, but we've mostly done groups. And so
Hmm.
they'll line them all up. We walk in, we inspect the room to make sure, obviously, that everybody's ready to go. There's no crumbs on the floor and things of that nature. And we can talk about that more later. But we go in and we bring our cadre, we bring our crew, so we've got other volunteers that come alongside us, whether it's
Hmm.
another 2 or 3 dogs and their handlers, and there may be up to 30 residents, if you can believe that. And
Yeah.
they all are in one room, or maybe they're in
Hmm.
an atrium of a gigantic community, and they're in little vignettes. And so we approach them, and the looks on their faces, Suzanne, oh my God. I mean, I cry a lot, and then I have to explain to them,
Oh,
like, tears of joy, right?
yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. And the change and the transformation
Yeah.
and the facial expressions, their countenance, their energy
Yeah.
level, they're talking, right? They're
And I
talking.
know that when you go, I remember a lady saying to me, you have an established day that you usually go once a month to many communities. And she says, this is the day every month that I look forward to. This one lady told me, she goes, it's my favorite thing. And, you think about all the animal lovers in the world and what our pets do for us in home. And obviously, Marlena, you are so involved, not only locally here in Washington, but also nationally. So anyone that's listening across the USA, if you're interested in perhaps pursuing some sort of way that you can get involved as a therapy dog team, you can still reach out to Marlena. And how do we do that, Marlena?
I recommend that you go to our website, which is actually a link tree, and it's Washington. It's actually abbreviated WA, right? WA Therapy Dogs, plural.com. And so if you are wanting a visit, click collaborate. If you're interested in training or just wanting to look into it, click therapy dog training.
And Marlina and I will be right back right after this. Let's work together and help fund a cure in supporting the Walk to End Alzheimer's this year, and learn more and donate by visiting alz.org or just call 800-272-3900. That's alz.org or 800-272-3900.